I'm JD Kalmanson, CEO of Montare Behavioral Health and Renewal Health Group, and I'm excited to introduce the Employee Purpose Movement. Our aim is to shed light on the foundational question that guides everything we do: why? Our staff is our most valuable asset, the driving force behind Montare and Renewal's industry-leading standard. We want to provide a platform for your remarkable stories to be heard and shared.
I'm going to interview today Stephanie Rosten, an employee of Renewal Health Group, Montare Behavioral Health, for over 4 years now.
Almost 5.
and the reason why we decided to interview Stephanie, in addition to a lot of other employees that we were going to be interviewing, is because the purpose of all these interviews are to bring out people that really come to work with a sense of purpose, and they bring it every single day, and that's what drives them and motivates them. So with that, I'm going to start the questions to Stephanie. Stephanie, what's your title?
I'm the VP of Admissions and Community Engagement.
How did we meet? Who introduced us? How did this all come about? I honestly don't even remember.
So I was working at Prominence in Malibu Hills,
Sure.
doing admissions, a small little, 12-bed.
12 bed's not so small, by the way. I mean, for other companies.
Yeah, I was doing admissions, and if I'm being honest, I wasn't really happy there. I felt that they didn't have the passion for actually helping people in the same way that I do.
As an organization?
Yes, as an organization.
Okay.
The people that worked there did, but the ownership didn't. And so it left me kind of feeling...
So explain to me, not to interrupt too much, because I want to hear the rest of the story, but what does that mean? How does that even trickle down? How involved are the owners to even imbue that into it, that there is no compassion or empathy? What is that?
Sure. And for an example, whenever I was answering the lines, because I was answering the phone lines, they would tell me I'm spending too much time on the phone with a caller who wasn't appropriate. Right? And that was not who I am as a person.
So they're saying you don't have the right medical insurance, goodbye,
Yep,
get
that's
on to
it.
the next call,
Next.
or start doing outgoing
Yep.
calls.
Next.
Don't, that's it. Keep it moving. Okay, that's a good example. And they were listening in the
Yeah, it was
actual
recorded.
owners were giving you this feedback. I guess in a small 6-bed,
Yeah.
with 12 bed, that's what happens. Okay, so give me another example of that just not being aligned with that.
I mean, the difference is, look at us. If we have someone who's truly progressing in our program and runs out, let's say, of days, or their insurance is inactive, I'm able to advocate for them to be scholarshiped, and there's never even a second thought from you guys, right? And that was not the case there.
Right.
So we were asking people to leave who were genuinely needed the program and were doing very well. They weren't a problem, but they had the sincere desire to get sober. And it left me feeling like I didn't have the opportunity to help them in the way that I wanted to.
Got it. So you're not loving it, and wake up one morning and you get a text message. What was it?
No. So one day, a year prior to SD reaching out to me,
SD.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I was sitting, me and my friend Monique, who also works for us now, we're sitting in the office, we were talking, and we would always talk about how we wanted to work for owners who had passion, who had the same desire as us. And I'm telling you, we would talk about it every single day. And you know me, I'm all big about manifestation and putting out into the universe the goodness and you receiving goodness back. And I had gotten irritated one day and put my resume on Indeed. Forgot about it. A year later, SD reached out to me and said, I have these owners who are looking for an admissions director. Would you be interested in meeting with them? And I was in a lot of fear, but I said yes. First, I met JD, who was, by the way, 45 minutes late to the interview.
You're lucky it was just 45 minutes late to the interview. Where was the interview?
In Pete's Coffee.
So you were
right
sitting
here.
there with, did you order a coffee? Mm-mm. So you were just waiting with nothing in your hand. And he was okay. And he was just late.
Yes.
Okay.
But he sat down, he started to interview me, and I knew right away, there was just this sense of peace and calm, and I don't know, you just know inside when you connect with someone in a way that only someone who has the same desires and want to help other people. It's there, you either have it or you don't. And I knew instantly that I wanted to work for you guys. Instantly it was there. I left the interview feeling and I told my husband too, I have to work for them. Like it's everything that I have been wanting, to find.
So you come on as alumni director, right? And you start this program. Let's back up, because that's how you got to Renewal. Let's back up for a beginning. Was Prominence your first job in recovery?
Yes. So I came to treatment in LA. I'm from Palm Springs, California. I came to treatment in LA in 2009.
What age?
I was 26.
No math needed.
Yeah,
right? So
please don't
you're
do the
26
math.
going to treatment. Was your first time going to treatment?
No.
Let's back up.
Yeah.
Let's
I
keep
guess
on
we
going
have to
backwards.
way back up.
Let's go. Let's back up.
Yeah.
Give me the story about the first time that you went to treatment and why.
It's a pretty deep answer, but I was court ordered by CPS to go to treatment.
What's CPS?
Child Protective Services. They were involved in our life for several different reasons, but they court ordered me to go to treatment. And so I went, yeah. But I failed.
Failed in treatment?
Yes,
You weren't
multiple
ready?
times. Not ready, no. Not ready at all.
Still wanted to use?
Yes.
Forced to go?
Absolutely. Forced to go. Absolutely wanted to use. And I say all the time when I share in meetings that like alcohol and drugs never stopped working for me. It was always the answer. And I loved the chaos. I loved the emptiness. I didn't want to feel. I wasn't ready to live, I guess, So I went to treatment several times. Each
time forced to go. Each time really not interested.
Yes.
Walked in there begrudgingly, forced by other people, ready to just leave and use.
Every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
So you're going in and out of these, not motivated. What's going on in your family then?
My mom, she's codependent in a loving way. She always tried to save me, which I think was what delayed my recovery in a way. But there was a really sick family system. But when my mom finally kicked me out, turned off my phone, and that was that, because there was a lot of different back end things happening with my daughter and my son, and CPS being involved, and there was just a lot of different things that were at play during that time. So when my mom finally said, "I'm done," I went and I left Desert Hot Springs, California, where I used from April of 2009 till I got arrested in September of 2009. I spent 3 months in jail, which was really my very first time becoming willing. And I think it was because I was sober, right? When you're using and drinking, you don't connect to the moment in any type of way. So when I went to jail, it was this mortifying experience for me, because I grew up, my parents are wealthy, I was in dance and cheer and, graduated high school. There wasn't this, yes, there was trauma, of course, my dad passed away in a plane crash when I was 9, my parents divorced, I was born in Georgia, and my mom took me out to California behind my dad's back. So there were these things, but overall my life was really good. So when I got to the point of ending up in jail, right? Walking across the courtroom in shackles in front of my family and my life, and I'm sober and it's painful, it was finally I got to the point of I guess surrender.
It broke you.
It broke me, yeah.
It broke you.
Yeah.
Would you say it was the 3 months there, or even if you were released the next day, you were broken already?
Broken, yeah.
Broken already.
Mortified, ashamed, bankrupt in every area of my life, yeah.
That was it. It was the court case, the shackles, walking you through. You're already a mom.
Yes, I was a mom. I had Michaela was 4. Actually, she was 5 by the time I got sober. And then, it's pretty intimate to share, but I also had a son who passed away when he was 6 months old. And that was what triggered my, me just going out and just ruining myself, when he passed away. And that was he passed away in April of 2009. And then from the day I took him off life support, that day I literally walked out of the hospital and went straight to using every single day. And that was the
off
end.
The rails.
Yes, off the rails, yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. And so when I ended up in jail, which is really God, I know it is because I'm going to get emotional.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Sorry. So that moment, I feel like God was like, okay, we're done with this. Like, because I would have just stayed out there using. Like, I loved every minute of it. I loved what it did to me and for me.
Right. If you didn't go to jail,
I would
you wouldn't be alive.
I would be dead, probably, yeah.
Because it's vicious, right? There's chasing more and more and more, and to the point where the chase just put you under.
Yeah. And
there was no stopping you.
No, there was no stopping.
Because your personality is very hardcore.
Yes,
right?
it is, yeah.
It's everything to the max.
And just like the way I'm able to like just disconnect. And I share a lot when I share in meetings, like the disconnection and like, I guess a disassociation, what started when my dad died. Like I remember when...
You were just 9.
I was 9, yeah. And I always share, like, it was like a light switch, I just turned it off. And like, I was able to like emotionally disconnect from things. And like, even when my kids were born, like it was hard to even connect to them because it felt like if something happened to them, it would be painful. So I'd rather not connect in the way that I know I should as a mother. And obviously that using and drinking was like beneficial in that way too. You know, it was like just,
super helpful for unplugging. Super helpful.
So then, yes, I landed in jail. God was like, that's enough. Like, you're going to kill yourself. Like, you have a purpose. Like, I look back on it today, it was absolutely like intervention. And then, so again, like when I landed in jail and I'm walking across the courtroom in shackles and feeling so like raw and like just on display, right? The judge was like, you're going to prison for 3 years. So the judge was like very serious, like you're going to prison for 3 years, like you're going to basically pay these consequences, you know? And so I went back to my bunk that day. I know it sounds so funny. And that was the moment I completely surrendered in the only way I knew how, you know, which is just like help me. And I was really like inside ready to like pay those consequences. Like I was like surrendering to the fact that I'm going to go to prison and this is what it is.
And you were at terms with that. Like you were calm with that because that was your debt.
Yeah.
That's what you had to pay.
I had to do it. Yeah. And I didn't know that my mom was writing a letter about me, about who I was as a mother, a daughter, and like my life. And she submitted that to the judge. So when I went back next week for my sentencing, the judge let me off on a 3-year joint suspicion based on that letter.
Wow.
And sent me to treatment.
Okay, so out of jail, on a good path, going to treatment for the first time.
Yeah, well, for the first time ready, right?
First time ready. Until now, you've been in and out.
Yes.
But this time, you knew when you walked into that treatment center that this is the real time. Did you know that? Like, did you feel it was different, or it was, let's give this another go, or it was totally different? I'm here, I'm ready. This is going to be the beginning of this treatment center is going to be the one.
I mean, I remember pulling up because I went to a nonprofit women's program in Sylmar, California.
Yeah.
And I remember pulling up to the gate and thinking to myself and telling my mom too, like, you can't leave me here. It was this like rundown house, right? Behind this gate in a corner lot, like, I was like, how are you going to leave me here, you know? But there was also, I would be lying if I said I came and I was really ready. There was that little bit of like, I don't want to go to prison, right? I have a joint suspension, like I have to do these things.
Right.
I break the law once and I'm going to prison, right? But there was also like this rawness in me because I had been sober, right? And I'm just kind of raw and just ready, I guess, to make a change because you had to be willing. And so I went into treatment and I couldn't have landed in a better place. It was exactly what I needed. Exactly. Like I could go on and on about that program and how just it really made me who I am and able to do the job I do today.
Was it the people there? Was it the friends you made there?
All of it. It was all of it. Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
So that's Sylmar, high 20s. First taste of real recovery. Next step. How long are you there for?
6 months.
6 months in Oasis.
And in that time, it was...
Where's Michaela now?
She's with her dad. She was with her dad this entire time. I had lost custody My last relapse before I went out again, I had to sign over all parental rights to her. So I lost complete custody of her. So I had
How old
no
is she
rights.
at that point?
She was 6.
6.
5 or 6, yeah, 6. So I had no rights to her, but she would come visit me in treatment, which gave me hope.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Oasis, plus your new home group that really kept with you, kept you grounded and in recovery probably from then till now and continues. What's the next step?
I completed treatment. Which I have to mention, when I was in treatment at Oasis, we would go on these. I have to mention this because it's part of the next thing. So, in Oasis, we would fill seats at game shows. And I was just telling everybody that was in the room before we started, but Price is Right is one of the
Bob Barker.
Yes, and
Come on down.
Yes, I got chose. I won the whole showcase. I won a car. I won.
Spin the wheel.
Yes.
Spun the wheel.
While in
first,
treatment, yes.
$1 Bob.
Yes.
Get up.
Yes.
What'd you win on the first round?
I didn't win the first round.
You didn't win it. You didn't.
I won.
You spun the wheel.
You spun the wheel, right?
And then you were the closest to the number.
Yes.
What was the number?
I don't remember.
Oh, come on.
I don't remember. Like 26,000 maybe, 700 and something, whatever,
So it was a car and normally something else?
Yeah, I won a car, 2
Vacation
Gucci...
package?
No. I won a car, I won 2 Gucci purses and a wallet, a stove, and $1,000 shopping spree. But
Sweet.
It was crazy because my mom had cut me off. So you have to pay taxes on these things. So
Right, the car is like a 10,000, you have to pay 3,000 on the spot.
Right, exactly.
So you pawned everything off. You sold everything.
No, they gave you cash for those things instead of giving you the actual product.
Really?
So I used that cash to pay the taxes on the car.
So you have the free and clear car.
Right. So that car, when I completed treatment, I had that car. And so
Right.
I left treatment, back to Palm Springs, went and fought for my rights back for my daughter, got those back, 50-50 custody. But I was managing a Christian sober living, and I used that car to take the women to job interviews and meetings, and it was really the opportunity to give back. It's interesting that happened that way because I came with nothing. I had nothing, and my mom wasn't willing at that point to help me. She was like, "You do it,"
Well, you're already a grown-ass adult.
Yes, get it together, So when I won that car, I absolutely used it for bettering and helping other people's lives, and I felt like I had to honor that. I had a responsibility, to use that goodness for something else,
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're living on a very inspired life right now.
Very
right?
inspired.
Very into the AA
Yes.
world and feeling that you have to give back, taking a job in a sober living, right? House manager living on site.
Yeah, so he moved to Palm Springs. We got an apartment together, and that was in 2010. And then we moved out to LA later, I think about 3 years later.
What were you doing for those 3 years?
Stay-at-home mom. I had my daughter, Chloe, and I had my son, Jace. So I had, and then I had my stepson, Ashton, so we had 4 kids by then, So I guess we were in Palm Springs before we moved back out here, maybe 4 years.
How is it getting Michaela back and now becoming a full-time part of her life?
It was easy to get the rights back, right? But she comes with trauma now,
Right.
Lots of it, because me and her dad were using together. She was up all night with us, slept all day, right? So she came with lots of trauma, and you have to know too. It was pretty hard for me to come back into that relationship and try to build back that
she's
trust.
already she was already 7-8.
Yeah.
Right. That's already a person,
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was we did all of that, and then but it was easy to get it back because when you're living right, my ex-husband didn't give me a hard time. He was like, "You're doing well."
He was happy to.
Yeah, he was happy to.
Right.
So it wasn't hard, no.
All right. So now you're in Palm Springs. You're living there for a while. You move back here. This is 2010, you said?
No,
later, probably
no,
2014.
2014, yeah.
2014.
Yeah, so we moved out here because we had lots of support with my husband's family. They watched my granny, we call her granny, but my mother-in-law would watch the kids when I wanted to get a job, I really wanted to work.
Right.
And so I got a job. My very first job was an office manager at a 3D digital printing. They did jewelry, I don't know. I was the little office manager. And then I left that job. I was only there for 6 months.
You weren't thinking about doing something in recovery?
Well, no. At that time, I didn't really think about it, right? I don't know. I just wasn't, that wasn't something I thought about doing.
Okay.
And so when I left that job, I remember I was like I used to walk a lot, like 3 miles. And so I was walking one day and I thought to myself, I want to work in treatment.
Just on the walk?
Yeah, just on the walk.
I mean, it's not so crazy because you were doing that for the sober living, right?
Right, right. So I was just like on the walk and I was like, I just want to work in treatment, you know? And I started sending out applications right there when I was walking. And I got callbacks. Sober College was one, and then Prominence was the other.
There's their own very similar ownership, didn't they?
No, there's SOBA who was, but Sober College was different, yeah.
Right.
So I interviewed at Sober College.
Tech position?
Yeah, just tech.
Yeah.
I had no experience. So yeah, it was just a tech position. I interviewed at Sober College and then I went right back. I went the same day, like right from the Sober College interview, who said they wanted to hire me. And then I went over to Prominence that same day, interviewed, and they wanted to hire me, but they gave me an offer letter in the interview.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I felt like that was God saying, this is the one.
Take this guy.
Yeah. And so I got hired as a technician, and I did that for about 6 months. 6 months, and then I was...
Just regular shifts?
Yep. Swing shift, day shift, just a tech at the Sober Living.
Liked it?
Yeah, I liked it. I worked hard. And again, like there's that passion. Doesn't matter like what position you're in. Like if you show up with passion, like a lot of those clients who graduated that program are still in my life today. You know.
Yeah.
So, and that's just how it was. Like they're just part of our family, part of our recovery family. Like I brought a lot of the clients to my home group. Like, and they're still sober. Some of them have like 5 years. You know. So.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah, I love it. So I did the tech work, and then I got promoted to case manager, and I was doing case
6
management.
months?
Yeah,
Up.
6
Makes
months
sense.
up. Yeah. And then I did that. I did case management, which I loved for about 1.5 years, and then I got promoted to admissions, and I started doing admissions from there.
Wow. All right, so now you meet JD, you meet me, you go into Renewal. I mean, the story is like full of miracles, small miracles here and there, like every single one. So I always say when people work in this space, it's what separates the people that do it because it's their why and their life's calling and their purpose from the ones that are just here for a paycheck is how long you'll last.
Yeah.
Right? It's very simple. People come in on fire, but if you're not here for the right reasons, it's not going to last. It's impossible. It's too demanding. It's too, it grinds on you, right? How do you sometimes, you know, like when you're having a tough day, like what gets you back to, you know, your core and your purpose? Like what? It's
super simple. Like when you look at the people that lives we touch, right? Or I touch in general, because I'm sober and because I share my story and because I know that I have a purpose, right? Like I have a purpose to stay sober, share my story, show up to work. It's in the clients, right, that we help that stay sober. It's that whole point, right? Like, yes, I always tell everybody, yes, this is a business, of course, right? But at the end of the day, we have a duty, right, to help people and show up authentically. And I think that people that I work with know that, right? And so to me, it's knowing that we make an impact in people's lives, like all the way down from the top. Like you and JD are the example of like what this company is, right? Super passionate, super caring and supportive. Like you've only allowed me to build this without like being a dictator, right? Like my whole little department. Like you've given me the freedom to like build out this thing, right? And that's like the most important thing I think to me is like trusting me, supporting me, allowing me to grow into this, like all of that. And look at all the people, like just on Monday, right? We were talking about one of our clients. That is what keeps you going, you know, and who we are. It's like their lives changed. Like I was getting chills meeting him. Like he was just such a different person. And that is what it's about.
How involved are you? I know you're like, I mean, you have teams under you, right? You're, you have a lot on your plate. So how do you make time for those moments where you get to connect with the actual clients and hear their stories and be present for them and, get involved in their recovery? How do you toggle both, right? It's very, you run an empire, but on the other side, you have to make almost like, you must have to make time for yourself, like self-care in regards to actually getting back and giving people what they want, which is in essence giving you what you need.
I mean, a lot of the clients, like obviously I speak to them, a lot of them before they come in, some I don't, but a majority of them do. And I always share, like, I'm in recovery, I know exactly what you're going through. You know, obviously our stories aren't the same, but I genuinely care about you and you deserve it, and you too can be free is what I tell them. So when they come in, like there is that connection, right, to who I am. I'm not just this person on the phone who's trying to make a buck, right? Like that's not what this is. So they can feel that, and then they, like I'm in a lot of meetings, so I listen to them, I understand, like I read up on them, right, and how they're doing in the program. So like for example, when I was over at Sanctuary the other day, there's one of our clients who hasn't met me, but we talked on the phone, but I know all about his progress, right? And so I like walk up to him and I'm like, you're doing amazing. Like, I want you to know I'm so proud of you. Like, you don't know my face, but I followed you and I know how much you were struggling. And so I want to say that we see you and we're proud of you and I'm proud of you, right? And like just that goodness, like he was so grateful. So I'm following, like, yes, I'm not in every second of the day, but I am present, right? I do follow these people whose lives matter. Like I am as much present as I can be.
Yeah, like I was saying before, I think besides for obviously the tremendous amount of confidence you give in the person that knows that someone's caring about them and following them and looking up in them, but I also feel that, I could say this for myself, is that when you're present for somebody, you get so much out of it also.
Yes, exactly.
Right? It's what continues to motivate us as people that are caregivers, is the progress of others, and the progress, and it's also the giving that we give, right? We're so selfless to be able to, like you said, it is a business, of course, but there's a lot of businesses that you could jump into and do well in, but it's one that you almost like selfishly giving, right? Because you don't expect anything in return, right? From this person. This person's going to go off and live their life and hopefully have a prosperous life forever and flourish, right? But they don't come back and say thank you to you, and that's fine. You don't need that. You don't want that.
No.
You rather them just move on. So it's those moments of hearing how well they're doing and knowing that you don't want anything back.
No.
I don't want anything back. Just knowing that is like, it's like a selfless giving.
And there is no, like, you can't describe that feeling, right? Like you get, or I can't describe the feeling I get. Like, it's just like, oh, so much goodness,
It is incredible.
Yeah.
It is incrediable. Yeah, so we covered a lot, and thank you for coming, being here, and being vulnerable, and sharing your story. It's people like you and you yourself, your passion and your sense of purpose that you bring here that makes the new Purpose Health to be something incredible and going to keep it around forever. Is when you have people that show up the way that you do and do the work that you do. This is why this is going to be something incredible for many years to come. And thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed.